I've got the beast in my sight.
Here we go.
Lights out.
Hello and welcome, my name is Haas, and this is another Hearthstone Goblins vs Gnomes video. This time, we're taking a look at a rogue deck, a very funky rogue deck that focuses on weapons, and more weapons. This season I've climbed to Legend playing a lot of Rogue, and of course the Mech Druid that I showed previously, and sadly Rogue is in a bit of a bad position in the current meta. They are very inconsistent, and as a result, this deck has seen many different iterations. To give you an impression of how the deck currently performs, here's a statistical overview of 60 matches I played. Still a solid 60% win rate. It is certainly a challenge keeping it at 60% though. It is not as easy as Mech Mage or Mech Druid, for sure. A lot of 50-50s against other classes like Hunters, Druids or Control Warriors, but it does tend to destroy other, slower control decks that can't recover from your high burst damage. It's quite a fun and surprisingly still effective deck to play, so let's jump into a few games before I go over the entire deck. And a Warlock, so we probably want to mulligan for Zoo, because if it is Zoo, and we didn't mulligan for Zoo, we have an issue. So we're going to keep the Deadly Poison, one of them anyway, 2 is overkill early on. And I mean, we could have done the sort of see if they mulligan trick, like Handlock is more likely to mulligan for Twilight Drakes or Mountain Giants, but again, if it is Zoo, and we didn't mulligan for Zoo, big issue. So the Auto Barber is pretty good here. Eviscerate is an imperfect answer. Rather had Backstab, much rather had Backstab. And the Ambusher probably, if it is Zoo, which it is, as you can see, isn't going to be that great because he can probably clear it. I think we're gonna wait. My initial plan was to coin into a dagger and then Auto Barber up next turn and then kill it with the buffed up dagger, but we have the SI7 agent, so I'm just gonna wait. And if he plays a Void Walker, then we can't kill it with the buffed up dagger. SI7 in many ways is just the perfect answer. Clockwork Gnome, nothing else, that's pretty good. So now we can... yeah, we can still coin into SI7. And if we had done the Auto Barber, he would have cleared the Auto Barber with the Clockwork Gnome, so this is still better. Harvest. No, an issue is we don't have a really good turn 3 play, like we could dagger up Deadly Poison and then maybe kill the Harvest Golem. It's kind of ugly. We could also just dagger up, kill the Clockwork Gnome, but I think we're gonna trade with the SI7 for the Harvest Golem and then just Shiv. Try and get some more cards. Or cycle, rather. See if we can get like an Assassin's Blade and start hitting at his life total. That would be pretty great. We do have 2 Deadly Poisons. So that's a lot of damage. And he isn't running any, like, Undertaker. Like, I doubt he's running an Ooze or... Harrison. So we can kill... we can't kill the Undertaker with Deadly Poison now. Blade Flurry. Okay, so Deadly Poison isn't going to work because he just buffed it, so I think we're gonna do Goblin Auto Barber. And then prep into Eviscerate. Yeah. Shame he played an egg. That makes a Deadly Poison in the future more problematic. But that is Zoo. Another tap. So he probably has like a spell in his hand or something. Just a Leper Gnome. Yeah, he definitely has some big cards. Maybe a Doomguard, maybe a spell. Not a 2 cost spell at least. Okay, I think we're just gonna hit him, play the Anubar Ambusher. And see if he trades for the Anubar Ambusher, hopefully. Then we get the Goblin Auto Barber back. If we don't, it's kind of ugly that he runs the Leper Gnome into the Auto Barber, but then we have a free swing with the Anubar. Most likely. Either way, I don't really care that much. Doomguard, okay. Egg and Owl. So we have the Blade Flurry. To start clearing his board in the future, so I don't think I want to do Deadly Poison and just kill the Doomguard now. I mean, we're completely fine when it comes to health, so I think I just want to do Deadly Poison, play the Big Game Hunter, because it's not going to hit anything in this matchup. Just start swinging at his life total again. Another tap. And there's the spell. Implosion. Very good. Very good spell. Very annoying that they've been given that. So I could Deadly Poison Blade Flurry now, or rather just Blade Flurry, we already have the Deadly Poison, but I think it's kind of wasteful. We're in no real danger of dying at this point. We could like backstab the egg and then Blade Flurry, but I think I might as well just play the Antique Heal Bot and then just hit him in the face. We have the second Deadly Poison in the future, and we're pretty likely to draw into a victory condition. So yes, I'm just going to play the Antique Heal Bot. He can do 9 damage. He's probably going to do more because he is Zoo, so he's going to buff some stuff. But he's not going to do 26. Defender. Yeah, that's a shame. Because ideally we want to hit him in the face and then deadly Blade Flurry. So we do 6 damage to him. But this is going to make that very difficult. Very nice Blade Flurry target here though. And I guess he played all this stuff out because I just used the buffed up weapon, so he probably isn't thinking I have Blade Flurry. I could do Knife of... I think I want to backstab the egg first, and then do Fan of Knives. Because activating the egg right now is fine. Auto Barber is actually great, so now we can clear the entire board. It's pretty likely to draw into something like that. So I think we're just going to do that this turn. Just clear his entire board. It's pretty good. Hit him in the face for 4. Play minion, clear board. Absolutely excellent against Zoo so far. The only issue is that we are, well, we don't have any cards. And that's an issue in card games. Second Doom Guard. He's been getting those very early. Fan of Knives. Okay, let's try something good here. Oh, that works. That's perfect. We can just kill the Doom Guard and then win in 2 turns. Hopefully. Creeper, yeah. Okay, this should be over. Come on. Victory, Cold like Oracle. We're definitely gonna draw into something to win now, right? Assassin's Blade, there we go. Blade Flurry. And that was game number 1. Pretty good one against Zoo. Let's go into game number 2. And a Paladin. So our entire mulligan is going to be for Fan of Knives. Ever since they got the excellent muster for battle, you have to get Fan of Knives against this. Blade Flurry could work too, but we have 2 Fan of Knives in this deck, so surely we can get one. The answer is no. That's a very bad start. We don't even have like a Backstab or an SI7 agent against a Shielded Minibot or Knife Juggler. Shielded Minibot is amazing as well. That guy. Auto Barber. Okay, so we're going to hit it once now and then probably do Auto Barber next turn. Or we could just do Cold like Oracle.
Put this apple on your head.
Knife Juggler. Quick start from him. It's kind of evident by the coin into Shielded Minibot, I suppose. We could just do Auto Barber here, clear the Knife Juggler. So we don't want to leave that up in case he does muster for battle next turn. Right, so we want to get Fan of Knives. Top deck Fan of Knives. Save us? No. Okay, so we're just going to draw some cards. Looking for that Fan of Knives. Deadly Blade Flurry is pretty good as well in case he does buff them up. He has to wait one more turn though before he can do that. True Silver. Very aggressive. He has to be aggressive though. And most rogues are more control oriented nowadays, so doesn't make sense what he's doing. And I think we will just continue our search for the Fan of Knives. And we can shiv one of the tiny ones. Hopefully they stay tiny. We'll find out. He's gonna go for face again. Maybe a second weapon. Or another muster, probably. Yeah, that's gonna be another muster for battle. Yep, that's painful. But we have the Blade Flurry. So it's not the end of the world. We're going to get very low in health here, though. We do have the antique Killbot. And there's Fan of Knives. It's about time you arrived. SI7, okay, we can do SI7 into Knife Juggler, I think. Yeah.
This guy's toast.
And he can't kill it now because he used his, well, he used Muster for battle, so either way he couldn't have killed it. Unless he wants to consecrate this. Second True Silver, again for face. Man, he wants to rush us down. Luckily, Anti-Killbot is here to save us.
Reporting for duty.
So I think this turn is just going to be prep Fan to get some more cards. We don't really have... Like, we need to get, like, Assassin's Blade and something. We need to start doing damage to him. And I think we'll just do Anti-Killbot. We have a very poor hand against what we're fighting. Okay, not for face this time. So he's going to slow down now. That Anti-Killbot basically prevented us from dying, most likely. Ciao. Okay, so we can kill both of this. Black Knight is perfect here. We have 2 saps for Tyrion. Just kill this. And then I think we'll just eviscerate Chow so that he doesn't kill our SI7 agent. We are very low on damage. We want to keep the SI7 agent if we can. Colt Master. Coghammer, okay. Well, he's not going to like sap. Yeah, I think we'll just sap a Nubar Ambusher. Or we can actually do Sharpsword Oil, that's better. It's a lot more damage. He has to respond to this, he has to Equality Consecration on the buffed up Black Knight. Harrison, okay. That's fine, he only gets 1 card. It's you know, he also removes 4 damage, sadly. Elder Peacekeeper, very nice response. Kind of expected. And there's the Assassin's Blade. And that's the victory! There we go, it's about time Assassin's Blade arrived. We have 2 of those, so... A very quick game against a Paladin. Very aggressive Paladin. He has to be aggressive. But so are we. Let's go to one more game. A good old Hunter. And in typical Hunter fashion, we have a terrible start. We definitely want to get Backstab if they get Undertaker. This is going to be very bad if we don't have a Backstab. That's no Backstab, that's a very bad hand. SI7 agent would have been fantastic as well. Goblin Auto Barber would have worked. This not so much. We have the Eviscerate, I suppose, if we really need to use it. Oh, this could be bad. Undertaker. Web Spinner. Fantastic. So we have to prep Eviscerate. We're gonna dagger up. Prep. Eviscerate. Kill the 1/1. And we have nothing left. Please web the Shiv for a bit more cycle. And the Nubar Ambusher is actually very nice in this matchup. Because chances are they can't remove it when we place it at turn 4. The trick is just to make sure they don't do a lot of damage before turn 4. So we could play the Fan of Knives now because it's harder to play than the Shiv, but the Fan of Knives might actually be useful. The Knife Juggler does sort of indicate he might be playing Snake Trap. But I think it's fine just doing a Fan of Knives here. We can combo the Shiv later on. And we have the Blade Flurry. So here's hoping he doesn't play anything big next turn, so we can do the ambusher. That's pretty big, sadly. Not that we can remove it in any good... Well, there's backstab. Okay. Perfect. And now we have a 5-5 out that they can't really deal with. They have to do Frost Trap to get rid of it. Or I guess they could kill Command, but that's good for us. Haunted Creeper. That's fine. Web Spinner. That's fine. We don't need to kill any of this, although we may as well shiv the Web Spinner right now. Anti-Killbot is very nice in this matchup. You need to get that. Let's shiv first. Preparation, actually very nice. We can prep into the oil. Do a lot of damage. So if he wasn't convinced yet that he had to remove the ambusher, surely he is now. Okay, that's probably going to end our fun here. It's probably a freezing trap. Yeah. Let's draw some cards, see what we get. Assassin's Blade, pretty nice. Sap. Could be nice, we don't need to use it yet. Let's hit him in the face.
Here we go.
And it didn't activate, so it's probably not snakes. We're not gonna attack with the 8-5. We can attack with the Oracle. He has to remove the Oracle next turn. Otherwise we trigger the freezing trap with the Oracle, and then we hit him for 8 damage. Houndmaster. So now the sap is perfect. Clear the Oracle. Okay, so we can't kill him yet. Backstab. So after we sap, he still has 8 more damage. He doesn't have a beast. So I think we're fine with just doing anti-Killbot. And then we play another minion he has to remove. Like, we could risk it and do Assassin's Blade, but I don't think with 8 damage that we wanna do that. Now we'll do anti-Killbot, and then we'll kill the 4-3. So that he has to run both of his minions into our anti-Killbot. Otherwise we trigger the freezing trap with anti-Killbot. Unleash Downs. So he's going to remove it, surely. Yeah. And now he has a taunt. SI7. I think we can just do Blade Flurry here. And then SI7. Or actually we could... Let's hit Huffer with the SI7. We don't want to take the damage. And then again, we have a minion out that he has to remove, otherwise we can hit him for 8 damage. Right, so none of this is going to stop it from dying. There we go! You can just do SI7, trigger the looming trap. Freezing it is. Not snakes. And now we can hit him in the face for 8, Assassin's Blade, hit him in the face for 3, and there we go. And finally, let's take a look at the deck. So, here we have the very strange deck. It has gone through many iterations, but let's take a look and see what it actually has. So first of all, it has Backstab. Backstab is, of course, just incredibly valuable against any aggro deck, especially against Hunters. You need this to counter Undertakers, what have you. Very good card. Of course, you can also combo with it, as it costs nothing. Preparation, make sure next spell costs 3 less mana, that is. Very nice. In combination with Sprint, it's basically a double Arcane Intellect at turn 4. Deadly Poison. Very important for this deck, as you may have noticed. You require weapon damage to win. That's what this deck is all about, and Deadly Poison is going to give that to you. You have 2 of these. These are easy to cast, they only cost 1 mana, allow you to combo with something, allow you to clear early game minions if you need to, and of course combo very well with Blade Flurry, which is basically one of your main victory conditions. If you can hit an enemy in the face, then do Blade Flurry. If you have to have a buffed up weapon, that's easily 10, 12, 14 damage, what have you. Very nice. Eviscerate, a bit of nuke if you combo it, so it deals 4 damage. Otherwise, it can of course be used to remove threats as well. Sap. I love this card. I love Sap. I try to put it in any rogue deck I can. I just love the amount of tempo you can gain by returning a minion back to their hand. If you have minions on the board, if you're dealing damage, in this case with weapons, it removes threats, it removes buffed up threats, it removes taunts for 1 turn, what have you. Very nice card. You need it in this deck. You need 2 of these. Probably you need 2 of these to make this work, because certain decks are going to play a lot of taunts, a lot of big threats. You have to remove those continuously. Sap allows you to do that for quite a bit of time. Allows you to delay your enemies. Against aggro, it is also quite nice if they play like a 4-4 or what have you. You can return this, requires them to play it again. Very important. Shiv, you might want to get 2 of these. Actually, currently I only use 1 in this deck. It deals 1 damage. That's not that important. It's mostly important to be able to cycle through your deck and get the cards you actually want. Rogues need a lot of card draw, and this is one of those things that are going to give you that. Goblin Autobarber, as you probably have seen, very important in this deck for your early game potential. It allows you to clear a lot of minions like Knife Juggler, like Shielded Minibot, maybe Undertaker if they haven't buffed anything yet, because it of course gives you +1 attack on your weapon. It also is very nice if you have an Assassin's Blade out or what have you. That's a lot of extra damage. It's also a 3/2 minion, of course. Very nice in this deck. Fan of Knives, more card draw is basically why it's in here. Otherwise, it is invaluable against Paladins. Against Muster for Battle, you need to get Fan of Knives. Mulligan for Fan of Knives, very important. Against a lot of aggro decks, it's actually not fantastic, I've noticed, because a lot of aggro decks have at least 2 health. Against Hunter, it can be pretty good, but against Zoo, against Mech Mage, what have you, they tend to have minions that have a bit more health. Regardless, it's very nice. You have 2 of these, extra cycle, AoE damage if you need it. Then 1 Big Game Hunter. You might actually want to remove the Big Game Hunter and replace it for an Assassinate. The reason for that being is a lot of minions don't necessarily have 7 attack. That being said, if they play Dr. Boom, which pretty much everyone has currently, then Big Game Hunter is very nice. So that's why it's in the deck. Otherwise, it's still a 4/2 minion that you can play. Cold Light Oracle. Now, as I said, rogues are going to require card draw. That is pretty much the case for any rogue deck, with few exceptions. That's basically one of the requirements for a good rogue deck. Cold Light Oracle is going to give you 2 cards. Yes, it's also going to give the enemy player 2 cards, but generally you benefit more from having extra cards because you need to start comboing things to do like Prep Eviscerate, to do Backstab, SI7, what have you. You need to use more cards generally than other classes. So Cold Light Oracle is very nice, especially because a lot of enemies are just going to play 1 big minion each turn or what have you. So generally them having extra cards isn't that bad. It's still bad, don't get me wrong, but it's not as bad as you having 2 extra cards. So this is a very nice way to actually get a bit of a card, well, not advantage, but to get extra cards that you need to have to win the game. SI7 Agent, again, also invaluable to counter early game aggro. If you combo this with a Backstab, you can clear 2 enemies mostly. If you combo it with a Coin, which is fantastic, you can play it turn 2. You saw me use it against Zulok earlier, Coin into SI7 Agent, very nice. Tinker's Sharpsword Oil, I tried using 2 for the longest time in this deck. I really wanted to use 2, but in the end I just needed to replace something. Tinker's Sharpsword Oil happened to be that card, so I only use 1 of these, but this is just fantastic if you combine it with Assassin's Blade. If you have a minion on the board, it's even greater. The amount of damage you can deal with this is insane. You can do some great burst. Now, this is probably the oddest choice in this deck, the Anubar Ambusher. You saw me use it against a Hunter with great success. That is basically why it's in here. It's a 4/4, well, it's a 5/5 4/4 that you can play, which is incredibly hard to deal with for most classes at turn 4. Like a priest needs to use Shadow or Death, a hunter needs to use a freezing trap, which they might not always have. Zoo can generally deal with it okay because they can buff stuff up. But it tends to be just an incredibly big body you can play to do a bit of extra pressure And as pretty much all your other minions have a battle cry, the Death Rattle, where it randomly returns a friendly minion to your hand, is a benefit to you. If you place this on the board and you have a SA7 agent that you then play, trade the Anubar Ambusher into an enemy, you get the SA7 agent back. Very nice in that regard. I mean, generally Anubar Ambusher is considered as a very bad card, and most of the time I would agree, but it has just proven itself to be valuable in this deck. This is pretty much the #1 replacement though, if you are looking at some different cards. Anubar Ambusher is certainly an odd one. Then Assassin's Blade, your staple cards, your victory cards in this deck. You want to be playing this at turn 5. It's not a very strong play at turn 5, which is one of the issues with Assassin's Blade, but everything after that, it becomes amazing. Of course, this deck gets hard countered by Harrison Jones, so you have to kind of lure out the Harrison Jones before you play this. Generally, you can do that by doing like a Deadly Poison on a normal dagger, hit him once, they will most likely Harrison Jones. It actually surprised me how few enemies run Harrison Jones nowadays. I mean, there are decks like Paladin, like Warrior, like Priest that might run Harrison Jones, but a lot of them opt to change Harrison Jones for something else. You benefit so much from the fact that they might not have Harrison Jones. It's not really a weapon-centered meta, I think. Not in my experience anyway, some other people might disagree. So I think Assassin's Blade certainly works very well in this case. You can mostly lure out the Harrison Jones. Ooze, I haven't encountered Ooze once in all my games. If that happens to you, then yeah, you know, it happens. But generally, Assassin's Blade does a lot of work. Definitely in this deck. It's a requirement in this deck. Then we have Antique Healbot. Antique Healbot restores 8 health to your hero. It's fantastic. It's an excellent GVG card that has been introduced. You need to have this in your deck, at least one of them. I find I need at least 2 of them to survive a hunter, to survive early aggression from a paladin, maybe even from a warrior. You don't have a lot of board presence in this deck at all, if you have any at all, I should say. This allows you to make up for that lack of board pressure. This is required against mag mages, against hunters, against aggro decks, sometimes against control decks as well. Then Black Knight. Black Knight destroys an enemy with taunt. I don't think I need to explain why destroying an enemy with taunt is good in this deck, because if they have a taunt, you can't hit them in the face, and that is exactly what we want to be doing with this deck. So the Black Knight works fantastically in that regard. It is an expensive minion, but against control matchups, this is still a 4/5 body that you tend to be able to place on the board without them removing it. You can kill a Tyrion if you need to. I mean, you'd rather just sap Tyrion, but you can pretty much kill any Sludge Belchers, which a lot of decks use, even hunters use Sludge Belchers. So the Black Knight has been incredibly important in removing those taunts. As you can see, we have a lot of ways to do that with the Black Knight, with 2 saps, with big game hunters against Handlock, where they taunt up an 8/8 giant, very important. And then we have Sprint. Sometimes you want to have 2 Sprint in this deck, but having 2 of them tends to make the deck incredibly bad against any aggro matchup. One of them is more than enough. You definitely want to have 1. If you combine it with Preparation, it is just amazing to use this turn 4 against a control matchup. A very good card, allows you to get back after using so many cards on removing their cards. And that right there is the incredibly silly weapon-focused deck. It is surprisingly effective. It is not the best deck, I will admit that. It is certainly not going to beat the Mech Mage or Mech Druid deck that I showed earlier. Those are much more solid for most of your matchup, but still 60% win rate with this deck. It is incredibly fun to play. Rogue sadly is in a bit of a dire position right now, but this seems to do the trick, although it gets countered by some things pretty heavily. That being said, thank you for watching, my name has been Haas, and I'll see you in the next video.